You need a motion to go into closed session? Oh,
President,
not for closed session. You all filled out for open session, meaning after the comments that I have here are safety, school safety. These are our open session comments, which will be taken after closed session. That's how we usually do it. So can I get a motion to go into closed session?
President Galarza. President Galarza,
There's a motion. Can I get a second?
I do have some that were submitted electronically.
Oh, the electronic comments?
Yes.
We'll take those.
Okay.
Just for the record, we've always done open session comments after closed session. Closed session comments are closed session comments. We have a couple of closed session comments that came in electronically. Those are the ones that we'll take. Any public safety, any safety comments will be taken after closed session.
Gustavo Leon, subject cost of living. The district needs to give classified staff a raise. With inflation and rising cost of living, it has become very difficult for any classified staff to afford necessities. If the district can afford to give management a major raise, then they can afford to pay classified what we are asking for. Isabel Urbano. Unfair that administration submitted for reclassification and was approved without hesitation. However, classified is requesting a long-awaited COLA, but must justify the need for the cost adjustment. CVUSD is not practicing what they preach about being pro-labor and shows lack of respect for CSEA. Classified is always treated unfairly and overlooked during negotiations with CVUSD board. We want our voices heard. Anita Meraz Cardenas, cost of living adjustment. With inflation on the rise, employees are struggling to sustain their standard of living. Maintaining the basic needs like housing, rent, food, clothing, babysitting, caregiver, and utilities are making it difficult to support their dependents. As a member of CSEA Chapter 109, I stand in unity of our negotiations team and call for your approval of a fair adjustment. All employees deserve a 10% COLA. Not only is it fair, it will promote our district in recruiting highly qualified employees and make applying to Coachella Valley Unified School District more acceptable. The majority of our classified members live within district boundaries and entrusted you as elected school board of trustees, you have the power to make this change. Jose Granillo, regarding salaries. I did not agree with the proposed terms of the salary of 7.25%. Everyone in classified needs the 10% due to the current economic situation. Migdalia Olvera. Unfair that administration submitted for reclassification and was approved without hesitation. However, classified is requesting a long-awaited COLA but must justify the need for the cost adjustment. CVUSD is not practicing what they preach about being pro-labor and shows a lack of respect for CSEA. We want our voices heard. Jeanette Miranda, please stop unnecessarily prolonging the negotiations process. Every week that passes is another week of economic struggle for our families, trying to adjust to the increased cost of living. It is difficult to see administrators and certificated staff getting significant raises while classified keeps getting left behind. Besides the economic burden, it also affects our morale as we feel we have less value for our district. The rising cost of living is affecting each and every one of us in profound ways. We work hard every day, dedicating ourselves to our jobs and striving to make ends meet. But with the cost of essentials like housing, food, and transportation constantly on the rise, it's becoming increasingly difficult to make it through the month. A pay increase would be a much needed lifeline, allowing us to keep up with the rising cost of living and maintain a stable and comfortable standard of living. It would mean that our hard work and dedication to students and staff is recognized and valued by our school district, and that they truly care about our well-being. This is more than just a financial issue. It's a heartfelt matter that touches the very fabric of our daily lives. We deserve to be fairly compensated for our work, and pay increase would go a long way in helping us achieve that. Sergio Espinosa, the rising cost of living is affecting each and every one of us in profound ways. We work hard every day, dedicating ourselves to our jobs and striving to make ends meet. But with the cost of essentials like housing, food, and transportation constantly on the rise, it's becoming increasingly difficult to make it through the month. A pay increase would be a much needed lifeline, allowing us to keep up with the rising cost of living and maintain a stable and comfortable standard of living. It would mean that our hard work and dedication to our students and staff is recognized and valued by our school district, and that they truly care about our well-being. This is more than just a financial issue. It's a heartfelt matter that touches the very fabric of our daily lives. We deserve to be fairly compensated for our hard work, and a pay increase would go a long way in helping us achieve that. Beatriz Herrera. We deserve our COLA raise after hearing that school district has more than half in the reserve money. Also, the surrounded school district have given their classified people their COLA raise. Plus, CVUSD got $80 million in COVID relief that would be more than enough to cover everyone's salary. We also deserve our raise because we are hardworking people. Due to inflation, it is hard to survive in today's world. Abby Sanchez, good evening. Superintendent Valentino, members of the board, teachers, and public present. My name is Abby Sanchez. Pay raise for teachers. A teacher affects eternity. We can never tell where the influence stops. This quote by Henry Adams probably rings true to everyone in this room. We all have a teacher who has influenced and inspired us to do better and be better. My son goes to CVU Elementary and is in kindergarten. He took the I-Ready test at the beginning of the year and then again in January. In January, he scored 48 points higher in math, which means he scored 123% higher than his annual stretch goal. In the language arts, he scored 43 points higher than he did in September. This is tremendous growth and would not have been achievable if not the dedication and persistence of his teacher, Mrs. Alvarado. The board approved an 11.5 raise for district administrative positions. Throughout the United States, it is recommended that each district has a reserve between 5 and 10% of their expenses. Coachella Valley Unified has that reserve, so there is no reason not to give the teachers a raise. I am a former teacher. I love being a teacher. I have taught in LAUSD and DSUSD. I decided to be a stay-at-home mom for the last few years with my young children. Now I am ready to go back to work. I want to go back to being a teacher, but my husband discourages me because he thinks that I will never make enough money. Not just teachers in CVUSD are underpaid, but teachers in the entire nation. If CVUSD wants to be a competitive district statewide, they must offer pay increases in line with Palm Springs and Desert Sands. There are at least 50 unfilled teaching positions in the district. Each school year, there will be more and more unfilled teaching positions because CVUSD refuses to raise the pay and be competitive with their surrounding districts. This is my first experience with CVUSD. I was a student in Palm Springs and a teacher in Desert Sands. This year, I have experienced shock, disillusionment, and negative feelings toward the district and the board because of decisions they have made, that don't seem to be the best interest of our students. From my experience, it doesn't seem like the board and the district are doing the right thing for students. This district needs to offer a pay increase in line with the other two districts in the desert in order to draw highly qualified teachers and keep highly qualified teachers in the district. Please do the right thing for students. Increase the pay for teachers in CVUSD. Let's start next year with all teaching positions filled. Do the right thing for the teachers, which in turn will provide students in the district with a better education outcome. Maria Duran. We deserve our COLA raise after hearing that the school district has more than half in the reserve money. I heard that the other surrounding school districts have given their classified staff their COLA raise. We deserve our raise because we are hardworking people with cost of living and inflation. It is making it more difficult to survive or provide for our families. Maria Zamudio, district administration submitted for reclassification and it was granted upon request. Truly biased. When classified reclassification, we need to provide documentation and justification for this action. Repeatedly, it is denied. Practice what you preach and pro-labor and respecting the hard work of CSCA classified employees at CVUSD. It is unfair that administration submitted for reclassification and was approved, no hesitation. However, classified is requesting a long-awaited COLA but must justify the need for the cost of adjustment. CVUSD does not practice what they preach about pro-labor and show lack of respect for CSCA. Classified is always treated very unfair and overlooked during negotiations with CVUSD board. We want to be heard. Luz Garcia, classified is requesting a well-deserved and needed cost of living adjustment. We have not been granted an increase for cost of living for a long time. It is unfair and certificated and administration are granted with reclassifications and pay increase without hesitation. However, classified is being unfairly overlooked during negotiations. We, for CVUSD to be pro-labor, be fair. Cindy Casillas, I believe that we deserve our COLA raise after hearing that school district has more than half in the reserve money. Also, the surrounding school districts have given their classified staff their COLA raise. Plus, CVUSD got 80 million in COVID relief that would be more than enough to cover everyone's salary. We also deserve our raise because we are hardworking people. Due to inflation, it is hard to survive in today's world. Thank you. Claudia, los maestros se merecen un aumento por su dedicación y trabajo hacia nuestros hijos, su esfuerzo y educación, además que todos los trabajadores clasificados. Nuestros hijos merecen tener maestros que están preparados para educar a nuestros hijos, no sustitutos. Pedimos que tome en consideración a los maestros al darles el salario que merecen. Gracias. English. Translation. Teachers deserve a raise for their dedication and work towards our children, their efforts and education, plus all classified workers. Our children deserve to have teachers who are prepared to educate our children, not substitutes. We ask that you take into consideration all teachers to give them the salaries they deserve. West Side classified staff member, we are the front line and deserve to be compensated because without classified members, our schools would not be fully functioning. We are aware that the reserve is over and feel that the cost of living has significantly increased. We need to be more like our neighboring districts. In unity we stand. Silvia Camacho, no es un secreto que la inflación nos ha impactado a todos. Todo está a la alza. Ahora nuestros sueldos no están al nivel de los gastos diarios. La inflación los ha sobrepasado. Nosotros como paraeducadores no hemos tenido un aumento decente desde hace años. Es justo y necesario. Nuestras responsabilidades laborales aún aumentando, pero no remunerados conforme a estas. Ya hasta un trabajador de comida rápida casi alcanza nuestros sueldos y no estoy discriminando, solo que nosotros nos piden estudios y entrenamientos constantemente. Por favor, exigimos un pago justo. No lo merecemos.
Can we keep the side comments down, please? They can't hear in the back. Keep comments or side conversations to a minimum so the back people can hear.
English translation. It is no secret that inflation has impacted us all. Everything is on the rise. Now our salaries are not at level of daily expenses. Inflation has surpassed them. We as paraeducators have not had a decent raise for years. It is fair and necessary. Our job responsibilities have even increased, but we are not paid accordingly. Even a fast food worker almost reaches our salaries, and I am not discriminating, but we are constantly asked to study and train. And please, we demand a fair payment. We deserve it. A few more. We have about 4 more. Okay. Leticia Contreras, certificated and classified personnel deserve the raise we are asking for. We deserve it just as much as management. We've worked through the pandemic without hesitation, and because of all of us, we were able to transition to distance learning and minimal obstacles. With cost of living increasing, do what's right, just as our neighboring districts did with their employees. Thank you. CSEA member, hello, Board and Dr. Valentino. I am once again writing to you regarding CVUSD COLAs. I should not have to tell you once more about inflation. We all live through it every day. Last time I wrote a letter, gas was $3.99 and eggs were $4.59. Gas is now $4.39 and eggs are now $7.43 average. I do appreciate the district coming back with an increase from 4% to 7%, but once again, that does little to fight inflation. Companies such as Walmart are now offering its employees a 17% raise. Yes, Walmart. Walmart now understands that it needs its employees and how much value they bring to their business. Our potential subs have better wages at Walmart than we do here. Why would a sub want to come to work here and have to work split shifts for less pay than what they can earn at Walmart? I remember when people in this valley wanted to be part of the district because of how well the district took care of its employees. Now we do not seem to be attracting employees anymore. The many vacancies are proof to that. All our neighboring districts and most of our competitive employees such as CVWD and gas company, hospitals, they've given their employees a decent COLA, and they do it every year, not every leap year like CVUSD. Please, once again, we ask that you give us the COLA we need to continue to serve our students and community. Thank you for your time. It makes me sad that the district is taking this long to give us an increase in our salary. It makes me think that they do not appreciate what we do. It makes me think that they think that we are not important in the classroom, when in reality, the teacher on her own will not be able to control the students in the classroom. I have been working in the district for 8 years now, and since the first day, I have been trying to learn as much as I can to be able to improve myself and be able to make more money. I am the kind of person that always goes above and beyond, and everyone that knows me can confirm that. That is my work ethic, and I do it because I love what I do. I love my students, but I wonder, does the district care about what we do? I would really appreciate if someone from the district can answer that. Do you care about your employees? Megan Farley? How can you sit there and say that you are being competitive with other districts' recent raises when you're not being competitive with classified and certificated employees? Do we not deserve a reasonable COLA? So what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander? You are showing the students, parents, and community how much you value and respect us. Good job, school board. Way to set the example. Maybe we can sit in restorative justice circle and figure out a solution. One more. From Storekeeper. Good evening, board members and Dr. Valentino. I write this comment today to see if you can help us with this unresolved issue. It's been over a year since we submitted for a reclass and we still haven't heard back. This is the third public comment that I write in the last 6 months. One of the main duties we were doing was asset tagging. We have been doing this duties for over 10 years. When we got interviewed, we were asked, what would happen if you guys stopped with the asset tagging? We responded chaos. We wouldn't be in compliance with the board policy. We mentioned items that would get lost as laptops, projectors, iPhones, printers, custodial equipment, to name a few. Basically, anything over $500 will get lost, since we wouldn't have anybody keeping track of them. For months ago, 4 months ago, admin notified us to stop asset tagging all those items. They didn't They still haven't decided the outcome. We want to help the district and we want to have accurate inventory so when audits come around, we can have good feedback. Now admin doesn't want to give us a justified cost of living increase. It's obvious that everything is more expensive. Our districts in the valley have all got a fair COLA. Administration got a COLA, no questions asked. We would like the board to be the voice of reason and see the facts. That was it.
That's a lot. Rather come back.
They're here.
Yeah, just come back.
Yeah. Oh, we're shortening the closed session?
Yeah, let's go to closed session. I think the comments now over here.
Our public comments? You can make a public comment, anybody can respond if you want to respond individually,
No,
but
take the comments. Public comment.
but the ones that they're doing.
I'll take them before.
I took them before.
People. Did they fill out a form? What's your name? What is it, Cortez? Cortez. There we go. Okay, that's fine.
Can you step back to the microphone there?
Any bonus? I'm gonna hear the rest.
I'm Andrea Cortez. I go to CV High School and I'm a ninth grader. For our school staff and student safety, we need to be more precautions with things. We need to have better school environment. Some things that will help us improve is having some sort of indication for students and teachers, such as wearing lanyards and name tags. For the amount of fire drills that we've been through the years, it's not okay. We should have them more often so students know what to do in certain situations. With the money your school gets, where does it go? All of the effort these teachers put in there get the amount of money and what they deserve. We should invest in remodeling our school and making it safer and better place. Also a better learning environment. My name is Violinda Ramirez. I'm a CV High School senior. Us as students don't feel safe anymore due to the incident with the student caught on campus with a loaded gun. We feel emotionally drained. We feel tired. We feel unsafe entering a school. I've talked to other students and staff, and none of us feel safe anymore, to the point where students, including lower classmen, want to transfer out to a different school or want to go into independent studies. Teachers don't feel safe attending schools either, but the only reason they do is to keep the students safe as they possibly can. They, as one person, do a better job of taking care of us rather than you as a whole school district. Do better and give us a reason to want us to stay at this school. I'm Desiree Bravo. I'm a senior at Coachella Valley High School. For students and staff safety, we need to build a better and safer, build a better and safer learning environment for us. Because at times like this, when we need it the most, how is there going to be a child on campus with a loaded gun
But our school does not send out any emails nor phone calls to inform parents, students, and staff. How is there going to be a big issue like this, but our school doesn't get put on lockdown? How are you, as a school, not informing us until a whole week later? How are we, as students, as a school, as a community, are supposed to feel safe when we have no safety precautions whatsoever? We don't have fire drills at school when the alarms go off 3 to 5 times a week, several times a day. And we don't have fire alarms that go off. We don't have fire drills. We don't flinch anymore. We don't ask questions. We just continue to do our work when we hear those alarms go off. That's how normalized it is at our school to hear those alarms go off. We don't get up. We don't go out for a drill. What are you going to do to make us feel safe and make us want to attend school after this incident? This is just the beginning, and we will be back in 2 weeks, and not just us, our school, our parents, and our community. Thank you.
Debbie Franco.
Good evening. My name is Billy Franco. I am the CACA Communications and Public Relations Officer. The students and staff at CVUSD do not feel safe at school or work. We come to work wondering what is going to happen today. In the last few weeks, there have been many different incidents at various sites within our district. Threats to shoot up a school, loaded guns, M80 explosives going off in student restrooms. What is next? Are you all waiting for something bad to happen before doing anything? At what price are you willing to pay before bringing back school resource officers? Are you waiting for someone's life to be taken? Is it really worth it? Restorative justice and PBIS are not working. The statistics are misleading. They may show that we have less suspensions and expulsions, but that is because you are offering a relaxed talking to for these offenses. Well, guess what? The students know this and they are aware nothing is going to be done to them. No consequences for their actions. So who's fooling who here? Under California Education Code, Title 1, Division 1, Part 1, Chapter 2, Article 505, Section 234. It states, this article shall be known and may be cited as a Safe Place to Learn Act. It is a policy of the state of California to ensure that all local educational agencies continue to work to reduce discrimination, harassment, violence, intimidation, and bullying. It is further the policy of the state to improve pupil safety at schools and the connections between pupils and supportive adults, schools, and communities. How is Coachella Valley Unified School District and the governing board making this district a safe place to learn? We need classroom doors with interior locks. We need zero tolerance back. Do not wait until it's too late. I also want to note that many of our classified members could not attend the board meeting tonight because they had to go to their second and even a third job just to make ends meet, because CVUSD will not pay them what they deserve for all they do for this district. You should all be ashamed of yourselves.
Sherry Peñaflor. Sherry.
Good evening. My name is Sherry Penaflor. I've been teaching at CV High School for 14 years and a resident of Coachella. Tonight, I would like to address the school board not only as a teacher, but as a parent of 3 young adults who are alumni of CVHS. Here are some concerns I want to address based on importance. On January 20, a loaded gun was found on a student. February 6, razor blades and a 6-inch dagger and was found on a student. The next day, a firework was detonated in the bathroom, damaging the facility. On the same day, the fire drill was rescheduled due to a lack of security manpower. The following is read from csba.org policy CVUSD. The governing board desires to establish safe and supportive working conditions that will attract and retain staff members who are highly qualified and dedicated to education and welfare of students to ensure a supportive, positive climate and be consistent with collective bargaining agreements and in conformance with state and federal law regulations. It is not a safe working environment at CV. It only takes one incident to occur. Are we going to wait until fatalities happen, or are we going to prevent it from happening now? We have an upcoming Alice 2 training. It takes more time to train 130 teachers within a given allocated time during one PD and department meeting. Having 2,700 students, we need more hands-on training, security, and a presence of a deputy on campus. Regarding teachers, we are highly qualified and dedicated teachers. We do the same responsibilities as other teachers in nearby districts. We are a Title I school where the population is a low socioeconomic disadvantage, which directly affects the mental health of students. So as teachers, we not only teach academics, but we also empathize, assess, support, and care for our students just like our own children. Some students come to school because we are their only support system. Conversely, who is our support system? Teachers should not be proving to the governing board year on end how qualified and dedicated we are to our students. We should not be pleading and hearing the same cries of why we deserve an increase in pay compared to our neighboring districts. Are you saying we aren't worth that much or even more? How can you advertise now hiring billboards that our district has great pay when it is not true? How can you retain and hire dedicated teachers if that is not the case? Teachers want to keep the faith that things will get better, but seem far-fetched if our school board doesn't even have faith in us. I would like to thank the board for providing me the opportunity to speak my concerns and opinions. Thank you.
Brandon Oya. Brandon Oya with Alianza. No, they're probably waiting for us to come back after public comment, after closed session, because these are, they have nothing to do with, they're different. Let's do Patrice Santiago. Patrice Santiago.
Hi, I'm a parent and I'm very concerned about the safety of my kids. I was never notified about what's been happening about the guns and all this stuff. My kids could be bullied all the time and nobody does anything about it. We're into a point where we want to move from Coachella High School to another school. I don't think it's fair because a lot of kids, our parents are doing the same thing. Here's a little one that gets bullied, got punched a couple times. She was blind for a month. Then she went back, she got slapped. Nothing's being done. I mean, I'm upset because I was never notified that there was a gun until my daughter came and told me 4 days. What's going to happen next? A kid being killed or my child? No. This is my daughter Lynette.
Hi, my name is Lynette Bautista. I'm in a public service academy. Now, when I put on my uniform, I usually walk around school with my head up high and confident. But when I have to walk around school and I hear that a door's been taken down in the guy's restroom, or it's been taken down in the girl's restroom and the restrooms are now locked because people can't simply just be not normal, but can't just respect the property of school property. But then we also have kids who are coming to school and we're trying and we're putting in effort. We're staying after school to make up tests, make up things just so we can get the credits to pass. And we have kids who come to school because sometimes their situation is not good at home. I used to be a kid that I didn't like my situation at home, and I would go to school because that was my only way of escaping that. And when I go to school every day, I try my hardest to go to class on time. I go and I do my stuff and I try to get it done. And there's fireworks popping in the restrooms. There's fights going on all the time. There's been a fight where even I had to get involved and I had to pull my friend apart because security simply wasn't doing enough. And that's not my place. I'm a kid who's going to that school trying to get education. I should not be stepping in for a security guard's job. I've stepped in to try to help. I'm in PSA in my school, and I'm a sergeant in there. And something I always tell my PSA kids is just to respect one another, because a majority of the time, we're the only things we have with each other. Because sometimes if we don't feel that our board members are with us or our teachers aren't with us, it's the kids that talk to each other to advise one another. Sometimes that advice is good, sometimes it's bad. But I mean, at the end of the day, if we feel like school is where we're supposed to get the support and we're not getting it from there, we're not feeling the safety, then why do they expect so much out of us when they can't provide us the simple thing of a lockdown, a fire drill, anything? These kids have been sitting here on their knees and their legs are hurting. Why does it take a group of kids to come up here and speak for teachers and students for this amount of time? Thank you.
Can I get a motion to go into closed session? Is there a second? Second. Second by Ms. Vargas, motion by Mr. Cunha. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstain, motion carries. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'll see you all in 2 weeks. We'll be at 8 p.m. We'll advise otherwise. So.
That's all.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I get a motion to approve agenda as submitted? Motion by Mr. Arredondo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Garcia. All those in favor? All right. Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Moving into written communications. Actually, board notification to address the board public comments. Sorry about that. I was reading the one. Introductory comments and requests to address the board on items adopted on the adopted agenda, and items not on the adopted agenda will be considered from the audience at this time. Please complete the request to address the governing board form and hand it into the recording secretary. The online form submitted electronically will be read. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person, and speakers are not able to concede their time to other speakers. The maximum time for each subject matter is 20 minutes. Additionally, the person making the request should state his or her name and the name of the organization or group represented. Please be advised that the board is not always at liberty to answer questions right away. State law prohibits the board from taking any action on items not listed on the agenda. Brandon.
Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Valentino. My name is Brandon Ulloa and I work for Alianza Coachella Valley. I am here alongside students, parents, and other members of our community. I want to acknowledge the issues that our teachers and administrators have brought up forward today. I would also like to add that the shortcomings of restorative justice that are present are due to the lack of implementation. We are requesting a more enhanced plan for implementation of restorative justice and the wellness centers, as well as an update on school boards' current application of restorative justice as one of the 3 parts of transformational learning. Our community is asking to update for an update on specific ways restorative justice is being enacted within our schools and specifically in the wellness centers, as previously promised. There needs to be more direct support for staff and students at these wellness centers at a district level. Over-policing communities and districts doesn't mean safer communities. Safer communities start with addressing the needs of our students. Thank you.
On the board. Raya Dominguez. Forgot I was a board member for a second.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Dr. Valentino. My name is Rhea Dominguez. I'm a senior from West Shores High School. I am here with Alianza Coachella Valley. I would like to highlight the amazing job our wellness center is doing, as well as the staff. It's clear to see the dedication, but I wish the district would invest in our school and give us the attention we deserve. While working alongside students from other schools, I've learned that their experience is not the same. They are met with closed doors and prolonged wait times. Hearing these stories, I want to advocate for my fellow students and for restorative justice to be implemented and get more staff to help those other wellness centers. Restorative justice works when it is used correctly. I would like to know how much our wellness center has received from the district and how much has been spent. Our schools oftentimes support themselves because we are so far away and it is not fair. This is not equitable education. We need more resources for our students and more awareness about the wellness centers. Thank you.
Julián Castrejón. Anybody else?
Here.
Okay. Sol Ángel. I see you, see.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Sol Ángel Cruz. Nos gustaría darle las gracias al superintendente, el doctor Luis Valentino, al presidente de la Junta del Distrito Escolar, Andonis Galarza, a la directora de Alcance a los Padres, Ana García, y al director de Seguridad, Gustavo Pais, por tomarse el tiempo para sentarse a escuchar las preocupaciones de la comunidad sobre la seguridad de las escuelas. También agradecemos especialmente al oficial de información pública, Lisette Santiago, por su disposición y su profesionalismo. Ella se quedó después de que terminó su presentación para hablar con los padres individualmente y nosotros queremos darle la gracia por eso. Demostró su compromiso al estar ahí para escuchar y responder preguntas a nuestra comunidad. También nos gustaría dar las gracias a los miembros de la Junta del Distrito Escolar, Jocelyn Vargas, que fue más allá al de quedarse a escuchar a la comunidad, a pesar de que solo asistió para aprender acerca de las escuelas comunitarias. Gracias por su voluntad, aprender y encontrar maneras de apoyar a nuestros estudiantes a prepararse en la vida. Ahora vamos a leer la carta que traemos como padres líderes de UCIC.
Seguir adelante, pudiera dejarles saber a ellos en inglés lo que usted acaba de leer, así para de esa manera no perder.
Sí, está bien.
¿Me presta su documento? Para entonces, ¿desde dónde leyó, por favor? Oh, okay. So you guys all have this in English, correct? That's what I was just told.
listeners.
Okay.
The people on Zoom.
Entonces, aquí en adelante, aquí. So, they're going ahead and giving you guys, thanking you guys and the
Can you use the mic?
superintendent, Mr. Valentino, Dr. Valentino, president of the.
Ms. Lita, can you use the mic, please?
So they're thanking Dr. Valentino, the president of Mr. Galarza. She directed to everybody, and then she wants to say that she wants to say thank you, a special thanks for Mr. Gustavo Paez for taking the time to sit and listen to them and their worries and what are their in their community and in the schools and also in security. They also want to thank especially the public officer, Lisette Santiago, for her disposition and professionalism. She stayed after she had finished her presentation to speak with all of the parents individually, and we want to thank them also for that. She also demonstrated commitment to listen and respond to questions that the community had. And we would also thank the member of the, or one of the board members, Jocelyn Vargas. She went above and beyond and stayed there and listened to the community, even though she was there assisting or she was just there to observe the community schools. And also she wants to thank the volunteers. Oh, I'm sorry. The fact that she wanted to volunteer to learn and find different ways to be able to support the students to prosper in life.
Honorables líderes del Distrito Escolar Unificado del Valle de Coachella, nos gustaría agradecerles su asistencia a la reunión comunitaria que llevó a cabo el día 17 de enero en la iglesia de Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe en Meca. A pesar de su presencia, nuestros padres líderes están desconsolados y frustrados por la falta de interés recibida de los funcionarios del distrito escolar para aprender acerca de su trabajo para establecer escuelas comunitarias en todo el distrito. Su decisión de irse antes de tiempo dejó muchos padres confundidos y dolidos. Es por eso que como ICUC estamos aquí hoy para hablar con sinceridad y honestidad sobre nuestro deseo de cerrar cualquier brecha de comunicación que puede existir para servir mejor a la comunidad de trabajadores purépechas inmigrantes del Valle de Coachella. Es un hecho bien conocido que la participación familiar es una cultura difícil de creer en los distritos escolares de todo país. Incluso en las reuniones de nuestro distrito, los padres no se presentan en gran número a las reuniones o la organización de esta capacidad para asistir y ser un verdadero aliado de nuestras escuelas. No solo nuestros miembros de la mesa directiva del distrito escolar dejaron a más de 100 padres de CVUSD frustrados esa noche, esperando su participación en la parte de las escuelas comunitarias de la reunión. Esa noche fue planeada por y para los padres líderes. Tomó cerca de 2 meses desde que la invitaron. Fue traída en la reunión de la Junta Directiva del 18 de noviembre. Creemos firmemente que nuestra comunidad debe recibir el respeto y la dignidad que se merecen, especialmente porque como funcionario electo es su juramento escuchar y servir a toda la comunidad. Gracias.
So she's addressing the board and the school district as honorable leaders. We would like to thank you for your assistance in the community meeting we had in the Inland Congregations United for Change, or ICUC, that was held the 17th of November in the church Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe in Mecca. And even though you were there, our parent leaders were very heartbroken and frustrated for they saw a lack of interest in you public officials and the school district to learn in regards to their work and establish communities and schools in the entire district. Your decision to leave before time left a lot of parents confused and heartbroken. That's why, like, as ICUC, we are here today to speak with sincerity and honesty in regards to our desire to close whatever gap of communication that could exist so that we can serve better to the community and to the workers, Purepecha, and migrants of the Coachella Valley. It is well known that the family participation is a culture, very close gapped in various districts around the world, around the country, I'm sorry. In fact, the meetings here in our district, the parents feel we know that they don't come to these meetings or the organization in the capacity to be able to help and to be able to be a good ally to our school districts. Not only are members of this council and district left more than 100 parents at CVUSD frustrated that night. We are waiting for your participation in part for the community schools and their reunion. This night was planned for the parent leaders, and it took about 2 months to get that going, and the invitation was brought to the meeting held on the 18th of November of the board meeting, and we believe that our community should receive the respect and dignity that they deserve, especially because as officials, elected officials, it's a judgment, juramento, escuchar, to listen and to serve the whole community.
Gracias.
Responding. clarification? I'm just confused on those dates that they said when the meeting was and where it was at and that we were invited. to that meeting.
Yeah,
Our meeting on the 17th.
they came and invited us during public comment. A few of us said we'd go.
Right.
And we went.
Oh, I'm trying to remember that. All right, we had a meeting that day. I don't remember what meeting, what date their meeting.
We'll get it.
I was just-
Yesenia Posar.
So, they, invited you guys on the 17th or 18th of November for a meeting that was supposed to be held on the 17th of January at the church.
Thank you. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Yesenia. Yo voy a leer la continuación de mi compañera. Los líderes de padres de ICUC están trabajando actualmente con los padres en las escuelas primarias Saúl Martínez, Meca, secundaria Toro Canyon y preparatoria de Mirage, y con los padres del distrito escolar de Coachella en congregaciones de diferentes denominaciones. En el Valle de Coachella, nuestros líderes juveniles también están organizando en la preparatoria de Coachella y Desert Mirage. Estamos continuamente escuchando las preocupaciones de las familias y las formas en que les gustaría ver a sus escuelas mejorar, un tema que resuena con ellos en la importancia de las escuelas comunitarias. Debido al liderazgo de los padres de estudiantes de ICUC, así como la defensa de grupos como la Asociación para el Futuro de Aprendizaje. Los líderes estatales aprobaron una inversión histórica de 4.5 billones en el año 2021 para el desarrollo e implementación de escuelas comunitarias en todo el estado, para que los estudiantes tengan éxito en sus escuelas y tengan la oportunidad de seguir una educación postsecundaria y oportunidades profesionales, así como estar equilibrados física, mental y emocionalmente. ICUC cree que CVUSD debe crear escuelas comunitarias que sean escuelas de centros de relaciones que ofrezcan sistemas de apoyo a los estudiantes, amplíen las oportunidades de aprendizaje para los jóvenes y los padres, mejoren la participación de la familia y la comunidad, y que dé prioridad al liderazgo colaborativo y la práctica con los padres. Aplaudimos al distrito escolar por solicitar la beca de planeación de escuelas comunitarias el año escolar pasado y estamos muy contentos de que el Departamento de Educación de California tomara en cuenta nuestras recomendaciones para incluir a los padres, maestros y miembros de la comunidad como parte del proceso de planificación en el desarrollo de nuevas escuelas comunitarias. Pero sabemos que hay mucho más que este distrito puede hacer para asegurar que las escuelas comunitarias estén presentes del distrito. Gracias.
ICU parent leaders are currently working with parents at Saul Martinez and Mecca Elementary Schools, Laurel Canyon Middle School, and Desert Mirage High School, and with CVUSD parents at congregations from different denominations in the Coachella Valley. Our youth leaders are also organized in the Coachella Valley and Desert Mirage High School and the community. We are continuously listening to the concerns of family and ways they would like to see their schools improve. And one issue that resonates with them is the importance of community schools. Because of the leadership of ICUC parents and students, as well as the advocacy of groups like Parent Partnership for Future and Learning, state leaders approved a historic $4.5 billion investment in 2021 for the development and implementation of community schools statewide. For students to be successful in the classroom and have the chance to pursue post-secondary education and career opportunities, as well as be physically, mentally, and emotionally balanced, ICUC believes CVUSD must create community schools that are a relationship center schools that offer student support systems, expand learning opportunities for youth and parents, improve family and community engagements, and prioritize collaborative leadership and practice with parents. We applaud CVUSD for applying for a community schools planning grant last school year, and we are very pleased that the California Department of Education received our recommendations to include parents, educators, and community members as part of the planning process in the development of new community schools. But we know there is much more this district can do to make sure community schools are present here in the Coachella Valley.
Ana González.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Ana González. Voy a continuar con la carta de mi compañera. El 18 de mayo del 2022, el Departamento de Educación aprobó una beca de $200,000 para planificación de escuelas comunitarias para el Distrito Escolar del Valle de Coachella. Comienza la planificación de escuelas comunitarias en nuestro distrito. Nos entristece saber que los estudiantes, padres, maestros aún no han sido incluidos en el proceso de planificación. Queremos hacerles saber que es un requisito por la CDC, el Departamento de Educación de California, que los distritos escolares incorporen a los estudiantes, padres y educadores, miembros de la comunidad en todo este proceso de planificación e implementación. Se requiere que los distritos que fueron otorgados, que se les fue otorgada la beca de planificación, involucren a los estudiantes, familias y maestros y socios de la comunidad para hacer un plan para el liderazgo colaborativo. La toma de decisiones compartida, el Código de Educación de California dice lo siguiente: el compromiso con los estudiantes, la familia, el personal y la escuela de la comunidad es un pilar para que las escuelas comunitarias, esto puede incluir visitas al hogar, colaboración en la educación del hogar, asociaciones comunitarias, culturalmente sensibles para fortalecer el bienestar y la estabilidad de la familia, y encuestas sobre el clima escolar. Código de Educación, sección 8901B2. Los fondos del subsidio y la implementación pueden utilizarse para diseñar y ejecutar estrategias de participación de educadores, familias, alumnos y la comunidad. El Código de Educación, sección 8902H1D, se prohíbe el uso de los fondos para prácticas disciplinarias punitivas o para hacer cumplir la ley en el campus. El Código de Educación, sección 8902B2. El marco CCSPP incluye un compromiso con climas escolares racialmente justos y restaurativos entre los 4 compromisos fundamentales que son componentes esenciales para todas las escuelas comunitarias de California. El compromiso espera explícitamente la presencia de prácticas restaurativas en lugar de una disciplina punitiva y excluyente, que separa a los estudiantes de las escuelas y de los apoyos necesarios, activando con demasiada frecuencia un conducto de la escuela a la prisión. Tales prácticas disciplinarias punitivas son incompatibles con este compromiso y van contra el espíritu y la intención del marco CCSPP. Gracias.
Gracias.
She introduced herself as Ana Gonzalez, I think she said. On May 18th, 2022, the Department of Education approved a $200,000 community schools planning grant for CVUSD to start the planning and implementation of community schools in our district. It saddens us to know that students, parents, and educators are yet to be included in the planning process. We want to let you know that it is a requirement by the CDE, California Department of Education, that school districts incorporate students, parents, educators, and community members into the entire planning and implementation process. Planning grants are required to engage students, families, educators, and community partners and make a plan for collaborative leadership and shared decision making. And it reads in the California Ed Code as follows. Engagement with students, families, school site and staff and community is a pillar of community schools. This may include home visits, so homeschool collaboration, culturally responsive community partnerships to strengthen family, well-being and stability, and school climate survey. Ed Code Section 8901V2. Implementation grant funds may be used for designing and executing educator, family, pupil, and community engagement strategies. Ed Code Section 8902H1D. Funds are prohibited from being used for punitive disciplinary practices or engaging campus laws and campus law enforcement. Education Code 8902B2. The CCSPP framework includes a commitment to radically just, and restorative school climates among the 4 commensurate committees that are essential components to all California community schools. The commitment explicitly expects the presence of restorative practice rather than punitive, exploratory discipline that detaches students from school and from needed supports. Too often, activity of a school to prison pipeline. Such punitive disciplinary practices are inconsistent with this commitment and run counter to the spirit and intent of the CCSPP framework.
Thank you. Maria Ortega.
Buenas noches, soy la señora María Ortega. De aquí en adelante, USC espera que todos podamos trabajar con el distrito escolar para crear un puente común en la búsqueda de las escuelas comunitarias para las familias de nuestra zona. Como ustedes saben, muchas de estas familias están batallando con las barreras del idioma, las duras condiciones de trabajo y la discriminación, que a veces dificulta su capacidad para participar. No obstante, el 17 de enero, algunas de estas familias se esforzaron por estar presentes para hablarles como líderes y de cómo pueden ayudar con esas barreras. Trabajemos juntos para crear un programa de escuelas comunitarias que atienden las necesidades de cada una de las escuelas y comunidades, ayudando a atraer los fondos adicionales y necesarios para atender sus necesidades. Necesidades tales como cerrar las brechas académicas para los estudiantes aprendices de inglés, los estudiantes indígenas, la creación de escuelas centradas en las relaciones donde las familias y los estudiantes y los maestros pertenezcan y apoyen a nuestras escuelas. Continuaremos nuestra organización en torno a la planificación y implementación de escuelas comunitarias, como ya lo hemos hecho con otros distritos escolares en Sacramento, en Oakland, en Santa Ana, en Anaheim y en San Bernardino, para apoyar la participación de los padres y estudiantes y para crear un modelo de escuelas comunitarias que necesitamos en nuestras comunidades. Nos gustaría asociarnos también con nuestros distritos y esperemos una reunión y seguimiento en la iglesia para participar en esa conversación. El clero, los padres, los estudiantes y las familias de USC creen firmemente que todos debemos recibir y ser tratados con respeto y dignidad. Estamos abiertos a trabajar con ustedes, distrito escolar y con la junta escolar para lograr nuestros objetivos común, que es elevar el acceso a nuestra próxima generación de la educación superior y las carreras para un futuro mejor para nuestras familias. Gracias.
I am Maria Ortega. Moving forward, ICUC hopes that we can work with CVUSD to find common ground in the pursuit of community schools for our area families. As you know, many of these families are native language there are native language barriers, harsh workplace conditions, and discrimination that at times hinders their ability to get involved. Nevertheless, on January 17, some of these families made their effort to be present, to speak to you as leaders about how you can help them bridge those barriers. Let us work together to create a community school program that addresses each school and community's needs by helping bring additional funding to address their needs. Needs such as closing academic gaps for English learners, Indigenous students, and creating relationship-centered schools where families, students, and educators belong and support our schools. We will continue our organizing around the planning and implementation of community schools, as we have already partnered with other school districts in Sacramento, Oakland, Santa Ana, and Anaheim, and in San Bernardino to support parent and student engagement and develop to create the community schools model we need in our communities. We would like to also partner with our district and look forward to a follow-up meeting at the church to engage in that conversation. ICUC, clergy, parents, students, and families believe that everyone should be given treated with respect and dignity. We are open to working with the school district, and school board to achieve our common goal, that is to uplift our next generation, access to higher education, and careers for better future for our families. Thank you, ICUC families, students, and congregations in the Coachella Valley.
Conchita Posar.
Buenas noches, señores y señoras y señoritas miembros de la mesa directiva. La situación que estamos teniendo en las escuelas del distrito escolar es muy grave. Sabemos que todo esto se puede evitar si los estudiantes son revisados, supervisados por el personal del distrito antes de ingresar a las escuelas con objetos inapropiados. Algunos estudiantes están regresando a sus hogares con golpes en el rostro. Con 2 o 3 personales de seguridad no es suficiente para revisar y supervisar a 500 estudiantes. Lo triste es que no contamos con un director en la escuela de Toro Cañón para que pueda implementar los reglamentos de seguridad que se necesitan. Los estudiantes también están subiendo al autobús con sustancias prohibidas. En ocasiones, algunas veces los están usando adentro de los autobuses. Nuestras recomendaciones son contratar tutoría que asistan a los estudiantes para que ya no sean reclasificados. Que estos tutores puedan visitar los hogares para que les puedan explicar detalladamente la situación del problema de aprendizaje. También los consejeros, un consejero no es suficiente para 500 estudiantes, personales de seguridad, profesores responsables, una persona que esté al borde del autobús en el transcurso del camino cuando están llevando a los niños a la escuela, detectores de metales para la seguridad de los estudiantes. No harán sentir a los estudiantes como criminales antes de ingresar a la escuela. Si vamos a un parque de diversiones, nos ponen por un detector de metales. Si vamos a la feria del dátil, pasamos por detectores de metales de seguridad. Todo para la seguridad de los visitantes. La seguridad de los estudiantes. Por favor, escuchen nuestras recomendaciones. No quisiéramos que nuestra escuela sea una más de las listas de masacres en la escuela. Muchas gracias.
The situations that we're having at the schools right now in the school district, we know that we could all avoid if the students are supervised and checked before coming to school for the personnel in the district and at school. Before coming into school, they are bringing objects, inappropriate objects, and some students are coming back home with they're coming back with bruises in their faces. With 2 or 3 security personnel is not enough to overview and supervise 500 students. The sad thing is that we're not counting with a director, or we don't have a director at Toro Canyon Middle School for the students. And even the students are coming onto the bus with marijuana and on occasions with substances into the bus. We want to recommend that you hire or contract tutoring to assist so that they can help the students that are having problems, learning disabilities, to assist in so that the number of students can lower in regards to reclassifications. They should have, one counselor is not enough for 500 students. Security personnel, responsible teachers, and one person in the bus is not enough. The metal detectors should be a thing for security for students. They won't feel bad. They won't feel like criminals. Even before going into amusement parks, we have to go through detectors, metal detectors, even in the fair. So, and this is for our security and the security of the students. Please, here are recommendations. We wouldn't want our schools to be one more of the lists in the massacres.
Sandra Ramirez. Coachella Valley parents.
Buenas noches, superintendente, miembros de la mesa directiva. Feliz año nuevo para todos. Primero que nada, gracias por el trabajo que han hecho para nuestros estudiantes, y la razón que estoy aquí es para pedirles, nosotros seguimos insistiendo en la implementación de la justicia restaurativa. Creo que nosotros como padres y miembros de la comunidad creemos que ninguna vida es desechable. Creemos que todos nuestros estudiantes, a la edad que tienen, merecen las oportunidades que se le tengan que dar. Y obviamente para esto necesitamos que más personal esté instruido con la justicia restaurativa, que los centros de bienestar estén en funcionamiento y que tengamos las personas preparadas para que se pueda orientar a nuestros estudiantes. Nuestros estudiantes merecen un futuro brillante, y nosotros como adultos que estamos alrededor de ellos somos los responsables de crear ese camino fácil para que ellos puedan alcanzar una vida exitosa y tengan una vida de calidad y tengan la educación que merecen, una educación digna de ellos. No por el hecho de que nosotros estemos en esta área de bajos ingresos, una área rural, donde todos somos, la mayoría somos hispanos, la mayoría nuestro primer idioma es el español. Eso no quiere decir que merezcamos un ambiente de tercera calidad ni una educación de tercera calidad. Nuestros hijos son tan merecedores como las personas que viven en una área donde el ingreso es más alto y obviamente no es una área rural, es una área urbanizada, pero eso no nos minimiza y nosotros como padres estamos aquí para alzar la voz por ellos y para pedir lo que ellos se merecen. Entonces nosotros queremos que se siga, que se dé más a conocer lo que están ahí los centros de bienestar. Nosotros la semana pasada tuvimos una reunión con padres en la comunidad y desafortunadamente de todos los papás que estábamos ahí, nadie sabíamos que era el centro de bienestar. Sus hijos no les habían comentado sobre eso, ellos no saben de eso, entonces quiere decir que no se le está dando la difusión necesaria para que los niños sepan que hay un lugar en la escuela donde ellos pueden ir y expresar cómo se sienten o buscar los recursos que ellos necesitan. Entonces estamos aquí para seguir abogando por la justicia restaurativa y el buen funcionamiento de los centros de bienestar. Gracias.
Hopefully I can say everything she said. She would like to thank, first of all, everybody for listening and community members. She mentioned that we believe that all students have the opportunities and in regards to restorative justice, they have people, they should prepare the students that they can be oriented so that they can be responsible and creating an easy path so that they can have and achieve a quality of life. And also have dignified education that are in the language barriers, or because they speak Spanish, it shouldn't be like a third quality type of education. There's different centers, wellness centers that they were not, they didn't know about. And these wellness centers should be more available to the students and should be more advertised to the students so that they know that they have a place to go and talk to someone there. I think that's basically what she said.
Mariana Román.
Buenas noches, superintendente, miembros de la mesa directiva y presentes. Mi nombre es Mariana Román, soy padre de familia. Tengo 2 hijas aquí en este distrito y formo parte del grupo de padres del Valle de Coachella bajo la campaña de justicia restaurativa. Esta tarde vengo aquí ante ustedes, me gustaría ver un distrito restaurativo donde todo el personal, cada departamento educativo, miembros de la mesa directiva, maestros, padres, estudiantes y comunidad trabajemos en equipo. Necesitamos un distrito claro y comunicativo que informe y aclare las situaciones que se viven dentro y fuera de los planteles, que se viven en una manera, que se vean en una manera eficaz y al día. No permitamos que se oculten esas situaciones por días. Deseo y sugiero que la justicia restaurativa se implemente a la de ya, que ese plan que se tiene se evalúe urgentemente. Necesitamos las prácticas de la justicia restaurativa en nuestro distrito. Como mamá, vengo esta noche aquí a pedirles a ustedes de que necesitamos más consejeros educativos a la atención de nuestros estudiantes. Como mamá, tuve una mala experiencia que en la escuela Toro Caño no se tiene el personal adecuado para 700 estudiantes, está solamente un consejero. La situación que viví no fue agradable a mí en decirme que mi hija es un aprendiz de inglés de término largo. Lamentablemente me hace ver, para mí como consejero, no tiene validez el que mi hija se reclasifique. Para mí esa es una respuesta injustificable ¿Por qué? Porque para mí, para mi hija, ella sabe la necesidad de ser reclasificado. Entonces sugiero que analicen esta situación, este departamento, que se le dé apoyo a todos esos estudiantes, así como mi niña están más estudiantes. Un día llegué a la escuela y miré a un estudiante de high school, Desert Mirage, y le hice la pregunta, ¿qué haces aquí? Dice, estoy aquí afuera porque mi clase no me gusta, está aburrida. Le dije, ve, habla con tus papás, ve, habla con tu consejero. No me hacen caso. Estos estudiantes necesitan atención. Ese departamento se necesita ser evaluado. Sugiero que se le haga días especiales donde estos consejeros escuchen las necesidades de sus estudiantes. No es justo que estos estudiantes estén saliendo de las escuelas y la administración no esté al tanto de esto. Entré yo a la junta que yo tenía ante la escuela de mi hija. Cuando salí ya el joven ya no estaba, ya se había ido. ¿Quién sabe a dónde? No sabemos. Entonces necesito que trabajemos en esto como equipo. Igual me gusta la comunicación. Sabemos que tenemos los centros de padres, los centros de bienestar, pero no estamos haciendo notificados. Yo como padre de familia no he tenido la comunicación ante una falta de director en la escuela Toro Cañón de los centros de bienestar. Entonces necesitamos que trabajemos en equipo para bienestar de nuestros estudiantes. El distrito recibe mucho dinero, millones. Hay que administrarlos equitativamente en la educación de nuestros hijos. Gracias.
She states that she had a bad experience at Toro Canyon. She feels that there should be more personnel, more counselors, adequate personnel. As an English language learner, she would not like for her daughter to be reclassified. There is a certain demeanor to why they're being reclassified, but she wouldn't like for it to be reclassified. There should be special days where counselors just get to listen to their students. There should be more counselors at the middle school as well. There should be more parents and community leaders and teachers and school personnel working as a team. There are these wellness centers, but we're not being notified of them. And even though there was millions of dollars donated, I think that it should be implemented the right way in the different school sites.
Thank you. Alicia Valladolid.
Hi, my name is Alicia Valladolid, and I know it's a long night for you, but I'm here as a classified. I asked my members to come over, and 10 of them from our school came over, and you saw the difference. A couple of months ago, I was at work, and I received an email from my Isadora asking for support. I came here. I asked you 10%. You're offering 7.5. Give us a 10%. And you know for a fact that everything went up. Gas and food and everything. Think back, years back. As a classified, we only got the highest percentage was 3%. At one point, the teachers got twice as much as that. We didn't. I learned something from my principal. Whatever you do to one teacher, you do it across the board. And I would like to say that to you. What you did to the administration, give it that more than 10%, give it across the board. Maybe you can, but you could give us a 10%. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Moving on to reports, student trustee. She's gonna send them electronically.
Good evening. Oh. Good evening. Okay. All right. So
Well, last week was the National Counselors Week. So we celebrated at DM our counselors through letters we sent them, just showing them our appreciation towards them. And yesterday we also had our honor roll drive-through ceremony where there was a lot of parents who came with their students to receive their awards. And in fact, one of my classmates, they were saying that they received the notification through phone. And so that's why their parents were like, oh, like, let's go to the award ceremony. Cause she was like, I don't think we should go. Like, I can just get it later. But her parent insisted. So I think that it's showing that parent engagement is coming through the announcements that are being done, whether it's through email, through phone, or just through the student. And then, so also our counselors are also working with COD and COD specialists for our seniors who are applying to COD or who are also working on their FAFSA and DREAM Act. And then, sorry. And the College and Career Center, sorry. We had a CV alumni, former DM teacher, he's now a UC Berkeley ethnic studies professor, Dr. Bice. He came to present his new book, The Strikers of Coachella. And I thought this was very important because like he mentioned, it's about the, sorry, it's about all the, like during the movement of Cesar Chavez and how these farm workers came together in an effort to bring equality pay towards in the Coachella Valley. So I thought that was very important for us to kind of see how he came back to his roots, or in this case, the Coachella Valley, and how he was able to use his degree or whatever education he achieved and kind of come back and give back to his community. In sports, so the boys and girls soccer team have qualified for CIF, and this week I believe they had their first matches. So hopefully they do well. And then, sorry. Okay, so in the CTE programs, aviation had a very cool experience. A lot of students were able to get on airplane rides at the Cochrane Airport in Thermal, thanks to the EA's Young Eagles program. And today there was a DM Academy recruitment. So there was freshmen, I believe there was 494 freshmen walking across the CTE Academy courses, just kind of seeing whether they're interested and just to recruit them. And then, sorry, okay, so CV. Sorry. So CV, the Career Center, is planning and organizing next month a career fair. In addition to students and parents visiting the Career Center as well for their FAFSA and DREAM Act. The CSUSB's College Corps Fellows will be starting to assist with FAFSA applications as well as helping students in online learning classes starting the week of February 14. Okay, also not to mention their boys soccer team won the DVL crown for the first time in 9 years. And I believe also their girls soccer team won the DVL crown for the 4th season. And they will be hosting a playoff game this Wednesday. So kudos to them. And also their girls basketball, they made the playoff this year, taking 3rd in the league, which is impressive. Okay. Sorry. They also held their last pep rally and they celebrated their winter sports, including all the DBL wins that they had. And now we're all introducing our spring sports, which will soon begin, I believe in the middle of February. And yes, so the Young Women Empowerment Club will host Partners Against Violence and Planned Parenthood during their lunches on Tuesday, February 14th, where they'll have I believe they said it was, an educational activity to raise awareness about teen dating violence and how to build healthy relationships. And then also Ms. Sanchez, their principal, met with the student advisory committee towards working on a campaign that students can engage in. I think the details are yet to be confirmed on what they will be campaigning on, but I think this will help like bring student engagement towards or the school and kind of what students are looking for, what they need. They see the needs in their school. And then oh sorry. Okay. At Westeros, their wellness center will have an open house on March 30th. So that's like you guys mentioned about the wellness centers and having more public PSAs. So yeah, there will be an open house, and they'll also be having a career week and fair starting the 13th of March. And then they're also getting ready a college and career center with a counselor and an administrative specialist, and it's in the works. So hopefully be ready by summer, which is good. And then they'll also be having their WASC visit, I believe in March. Yes, in March as well. And yeah, that would be all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your report, Trustee De La Rosa, and for staying. It's about to be 10 p.m. So kudos to you, and hope you wake up for class tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Not only do I hope, please, Mom, make sure she wakes up for class.
Yes, please. I'll put the alarms.
Thank you, but feel free to leave if you have to, whenever you want to. Mr. Acuna, your report. You're out.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank everybody who came out and spoke and gave us their opinions. Whether we agree with them or disagree, it's always good to have people come up and tell us what they're thinking and what they're sharing with us. So thank you all for coming and participating. Real quickly, I want to send out a couple of condolences. Obviously, some of us were earlier. The Gonzalez family, send out to them. They laid one of our good friend Johnny Gonzalez to rest today. Many of you know his wife, Alma, from Desert Mirage, and their sons, some that work in the district, and again, the Gonzalez family, board member, his brother. So want to send out condolences to them. Obviously, that's why board member Gonzalez isn't here today. And then also I'd like to send out condolences to the family, the Ramos family, Nick Ramos Sr. So some of you may know, he's a longtime teacher here. He was a football coach. He actually went to school here. He was part of those championship teams in the 60s. And unfortunately, he passed away tragically a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, his whole family went to school here. His kids came through here. And, his wife works at one of the local clinics and has served our community for a long time. So we'd like to send condolences to the Ramos family as well. I got an opportunity to go meet with the WASC group over at the Adult Ed. I thought they did a really great job, and I was told that they've already completed it. And they expect it to be a very good report. Obviously, it has to go back up to the powers that be, and then they'll send us back. But they believe they had a really good presentation and a really good report. So kudos to the Adult Ed, Jeremy Wishadell, and the whole team out there. They do a great job. And one of the things that I mentioned when I was there to some of the visiting people is that unfortunately, and this is kind of on us at the board, is that sometimes the Adult Ed does a good job that they're out of sight, out of mind. And we need to pay a little more attention to some of their needs sometimes, because they have specific needs. They're not the normal, K through 12 because of the community they serve. But for those of you who don't know, our Adult Ed school also runs Desert Sands and Palm Springs' Adult Ed program. So I guess we're not doing too bad, if Palm Springs and Desert Sands is willing to give us their money for us to run their program. So, but again, kudos to that team. Sometimes they don't get recognized as much as they should, but congratulations to that team out there. I was also part of a meeting with the state CTE program that came out to visit. I was with them for one of the tours that they went to Bobby Duke Elementary. But they were just, pretty much raving about the programs that we have here. Again, our team, beginning with our director, Parati, and the whole team. I mean, obviously, it's just not a one-person thing. But the things that we're doing, some of the things we're doing in the middle school, so we're moving them into the high school, so they're getting ready. Some of the things we're doing at the elementary programs with the STEM, it all works together. They're very impressed. I was with them last week, and I think they came back this week for another tour. I wasn't able to join them, but again, nothing but great reviews from the state, talking to us about some other possible, how we can increase and improve our programs, which again, I think are very important in our district. The CTE, the career part of career in college, I think is very important. Sometimes we overlook it, when we're talking about academics, obviously everybody wants their kids to go to college and everything, but the CTE programs are very important to many in our community that can lead them to great careers. And a lot of them still have to go to school for a lot of the stuff in the career in college. So it's not like they're not going to school. So, but kudos to your department for that and the visit back. Interesting night. Just a couple of comments on the one hand, I hear parents and communities talking to us about restorative justice, restorative practices, and some comments from certain members of the audience. When we mentioned that, they started laughing like, well, yeah, whatever. So, there's this kind of back and forth. We do have to do a better job, obviously, with protecting our kids. Everybody has ideas. There's a lot of solutions. I know we're looking at some short term. I know we're looking at some long term. I was at a meeting last Thursday at CV High School. And it was obvious that many of the teachers were scared. They're not only the teachers, but some of the other people there that were scared, and they have good reason to be scared. But again, not all of the suggestions that I agreed with, some I did, some I didn't, but to make it clear, because a lot of people have challenged me and said, I am not supportive of returning the RSOs to our schools. I made it very clear, so anyone who knows me knows that's pretty much where my position is. They've known this for a long time. Militarizing our schools, making them into prisons is not what I have in mind. We need to hold our students accountable. Restorative justice and practices does some of that, but we do have to hold our kids accountable. But I also want to mention something else that people don't like, and it's not very popular. These kids are bringing these drugs and these weapons from their homes. Somehow we have to get to the parents to also help us. Check their bags before you leave. Check they're doing their homework. Make sure they're not getting in trouble. Make sure they're not on social media and TikTok doing the cyberbullying, which is easy to get out of control. And then what that leads to is actual bullying in the schools. We need help from our parents. I don't know how. I'm asking all of you. You have ideas how to communicate better with the parents and that, because that is the issue. And most of the students that I've talked to, and you heard the ones today that came saying, a lot of us are good and there's just a few of them that are bad. Well, how do we pick the bad ones out? But again, you don't just simply want to discard them as students, as human beings. We need to have the thing. Another thing I would like to get clarification, and hopefully I'll talk to some of the people who brought it up. I keep hearing the word counselor come up. We need more counselors in the schools. In the past, the community has a different definition than the administrators have or teachers have of a counselor. Are you talking about academic counselors? Or are you talking about the counselors for well-being, mental health, and those support services? Because then when we go to meetings, they say, well, they want counselors, so you need to hire more of these. Well, I'm not sure that's what the community is talking about. I believe some of the steps that we've taken with our wellness centers and our outreach for the mental health and all of that I think we're doing a good job. Do we need to communicate it better for everyone? No, absolutely. We always need to do that. But I think we've been taking those steps in that direction. So I'm not saying we can't do better. Obviously, we can do better. There's a lot of areas that we need to do better. Someone brought up today about having an alternative ed program, not a La Familia credit recovery kind of a thing, but an actual alternative. I mean, we've been talking about that for a while now. Unfortunately, it costs money. We have to find a facility. We have to find staffing. It's a whole other, stuff. And, there's money, but there's only so much money. So we have to make decisions on where to spend, where, to expand, what's working, what's not working. But again, I want to thank everybody who came and gave us their opinions. I always take their opinions to heart. Again, I not necessarily agree with them, but I'm always appreciative of the fact that they didn't stay home. They actually took the time to come out and communicate with us. So with that, thank you that's my report.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dismiss myself. Yeah.
Dismiss. Thank you.
Tell everybody at Desmerage we say hi. And although I'm a little hurt, they lost against CV. Very proud of both schools. Trustee Garcia. Report.
Am I good? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. It was a very moving view to see from here, to see everyone come out and speak. Thank you. It's your way to exercise your right to talk to us. So thank you for everyone who did. Now that I've been to a couple of meetings, I was able to start my committee engagements and was able to go to my first LCAP meeting. And it was very interesting to hear. Couple of things people talked about even today were things that we've discussed. It was noted during the meeting that we may need to diversify our communications with families. We heard about the utilization of the wellness programs within middle schools and high schools, and they are being utilized, but just from what we've heard within kind of the violent instances that we've heard within schools, that I'm sure that if more students understood the services, it may impact that, right? What I also thought was interesting was stakeholders are asking for more in-depth information. They also want to hear about past years, with the idea that if we understand the trends that we've been spending money, we'd have make better choices moving forward, right? And LCAP is so important. This is another way that stakeholders within our community have direct impact on how we spend our money. So school site councils, all of that's very important so that we hear your voice and very specifically make decisions on what you want, how we spend your tax dollars, right? I was also able to attend my first policy committee, and we're working on the dress code policy. We were given data on the student surveys that went out across the district, and want to tell you that we are committed to honoring the students' viewpoints and are committed to updating the sometimes very antiquated language. So we're definitely working on that and breaking it all down to make sure that again, that students' voices are heard and it makes more sense with where we are in society now. I was also able to attend virtually the CVHS employee meeting. I noticed it was very well attended. We hear you. I know it was not always easy to be on the receiving end of all that, but all of your viewpoints are valid, and we know that you needed to get it out. So we hear you. I took so many notes. So there are, just like Board Member Acuna said, there are long-term and short-term goals that we're going to need to work through to gain back your trust and make sure that schools feel secure again for students and staff. So absolutely, we hear you and we're having those conversations. Thank you.
Cia Redondo.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to thank everybody who came out tonight. It's good to hear from employees, from our staff on the things that we are working on together. I think it's important that we work on these things together. So I've had the opportunity to see a few schools. I was at a Cedar Chavez, just walking the campus. There are some things that we need to do to some of the buildings structurally that have cracks. We have concrete coming up. I hope that address some of these things. Was able to walk around CV High School, and of course, there's still some improvements that I like to see. Particularly, I'd like to see new fencing, steel fencing across on Van Buren to mirror that of the front. I also got a chance to go by Bobby Duke Middle School and see some of the classrooms there, and also look at the wellness training today that was from the CCEJ, the California. Drawing a blank, but I know it's CCEJ, which is the restorative practices training that they had today. It was well attended, and I didn't stick around for too much, but I saw some good things going on, and those are the things that I am proud of. I also visited Peter Pendleton. I look forward to us having kinder restrooms there for the kids that need them. I think that's an important addition that we need to have there. I'd like to congratulate the CV boys soccer team. I hear they won tonight. Congratulations, CV. And congratulations on beating Desmond Raj High School. Even though, I am an alumni of CV High School. I did get a chance to visit some of the wellness centers, and I think that we're in the right direction. I think there's still a lot of work to do. Kudos to Dr. Williams, who's kind of building that team there. I think we're getting it. I think we'll eventually get to where we want to get to, but I think it's something that we need to work on, right? And then I know that our high schools host blood drives, and our kids play an important role in providing life-saving blood to the community. So I thank you, thank our students and our staff for that. I think it's very, very important that we do that. A couple of things. Mr. Acuna was chair of the facilities committee, and Palmview Phase 5 is in the works, which is a beautiful soccer field that's lighted. Looking forward to that project coming to fruition. I also heard that we have a possibility of a cosmetology class coming, and I think that that's something that our students will benefit from. A quick shout out to Dr. Gutierrez. Dr. Gutierrez, I want you to know that you're the first director that I've seen with your style of work and dedication. I took the time to visit multiple sites, over 100 classrooms today. That type of dedication is what I, as a board member, look into staff. And I just want to thank you for taking me along and pointing out the things that you think we can improve on. So thank you for that. I'd also like to shout out our counselors. I know you're doing the best that you can. So thank you. I know it's the National Counseling Week. And then I got a chance to attend the curriculum committee. And I think that we are bringing financial literacy. We are kind of at the doorsteps, and I think that hopefully by next school year, financial literacy will be a part of our curriculum. So definitely looking forward to that. I do want to speak into the safety and security, right? Because we've had some very, very instances in the last few weeks that scare me and scare our staff, and we need to really address it. And I am asking Dr. Valentino to look at what it would cost to put an SRO on campus. I'd like to see SROs, school resource officers, back on our campus at the high schools and middle schools. If we could have a conversation with parents, if something would happen, I would have to have a conversation, and parents would want to hold me accountable. And I would like to see us go back to having SROs on campus. We've had very dangerous events that we need to address, and there are some safety things that we need to do. But this is coming from somebody who, my daily life is transformational learning, is restorative justice. But you can have restorative justice, you can have transformational learning while having law enforcement on your campuses, because that's what is necessary. And this is coming from somebody here on the board who does it 24/7. So I don't want to grandstand or anything. I hope that we can at least look into it, maybe have that be an option. So with that said, I just want to thank the staff for the work that you're doing. We hear you, and we have our directors and staff in the back of the room always listening as well. So there are things that that they are working on as well. So I want to thank everybody here. I thank you for your work. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Arredondo. Madam Clerk.
Good evening, everybody. I'll try to be brief. Thank you to everyone who came today, provided public comment from our teachers, classified parents, students. I think what today, I mean, there were a number of comments regarding different topics. So, definitely trying to take note of everything as we're making decisions regarding everything, right? But I do appreciate all the comments that were made tonight. Couple committee meetings that I joined the curriculum meeting, so I won't repeat anything that Trustee Arredondo's already shared. I also joined the meeting with staff at CB High School. I joined virtually. I did apologize. I feel like I probably only got about maybe 15%. It was a little bit hard to hear, and I wish I had joined in person. But I think some things that really were clear to me, just listening from folks, we do have a lot of work to do in terms of creating a safe environment for our staff. We really need to work on our communication. I think that's been a big thing, not just the last couple of months, but it's something that, it's come up before and it's come up again, right? I think making sure that we're communicating and being transparent through those processes, especially when we have emergencies and emergency and issues, right, that arise. I think just listening from the parents and, we heard two different kind of perspectives, right? We want to implement restorative justice. We want to implement maybe even what may seem as very punitive type of approach. Just from the work that I've done with young people and previous experiences, we want to make sure that it's an environment that's conducive to learning, that it's not, replicating an environment that's just going to further criminalize our young people, right? And so it's definitely a fine line to be able to do that. But I think two things that really came to mind, I've shared with a couple folks. One, we really want to make sure that we're engaging parents in this process. I know Trustee Acuña mentioned it earlier. I think we really need to, as we're developing these processes, like what are we doing with our parents, right, to try to create some sort of maybe some preventative, right? How are we addressing those issues and challenges? Training and support for our staff, public safety staff, from what I heard, are looking for training. So Alice is one training, but I think for our staff members, we really need to provide them with the tools to be able to, provide that safe environment. Those are just kind of two things that came to mind just from listening to the meeting. And I know that I what's the word in English? Me comprometí. I promised that I would follow up with some folks. So I'm hoping to do that in the coming days or weeks. The ICUC meeting, I know parents mentioned it. I did have the opportunity to attend, and I do, again, made the promise that I would follow up with them about listening about their perspective on community schools. So I'm hoping staff can do that as well. The last committee meeting that I joined was our audit committee. I had a very individualized meeting with our staff who helped me kind of better understand what our audit process is. I think for me, being part of this first meeting, one of the biggest things for me is just making sure that we're transparent in our process, as well as making sure that it's accessible to our community, right? This audit is important, and I think being able to break it down and understand what it really means is really important, and us being able to be transparent with the community. So it really helped me to kind of understand that, and I wish that we can, I'm hoping that committee also plays a role in demystifying kind of that process for our community members that, they might not really understand how do we approach this big old book. So it's helpful. So I want to thank the staff for doing that with me, and hopefully we can find ways to do that with our community. Thank you.
Thank you. I got nothing to report. Dr. Valentino?
Just briefly, thank you to the staff and parents who were here. A lot was said and a lot for us to internalize and digest. I don't want to repeat what's been said. I agree with board members have said about the need for better articulation of the work that's taking place and how do we engage parents and community in those conversations early in the process. The other one is that Ms. Vargas, you mentioned is the communication, and it's been said even before when I first arrived that we do have to do a much better job of communicating the work that the team back there and their teams are doing, because there's a lot of good work, but without communicating it, the default is it's not happening or they don't understand what's happening. And I get they're so busy doing it that what falls off is the communicating of it. And so we certainly have to do a much better job. And so that is for me to really figure out how to work with them so that we can create those opportunities for us to better communicate the work that we're leading. Over the past couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to meet with donors, and now that the Ed Foundation is up and running, there hopefully will be even more interest in donating more to the work of the through the Ed Foundation. Our partner districts have continued to build on the role of an Ed Foundation, and I think we can do the same and surpass that, because we have a lot of great partners within this community that can really that we can really leverage upon. And finally, the girls basketball team at CV High School, Dr. Williams, they won today. So we not only did the soccer team win, but also the basketball team.
Congratulations,
So congratulations, Lady Ballers. Excited for that.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to 6.1. Dr. Graciela Gutierrez, Summer School 2023 proposal.
I like the fancy title that I received. Not doctor yet. All right, so tonight, Dr. Williams and I are going to be presenting to you on our summer school proposal plan so that we can begin planning and get it underway. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and so we want to make sure that what we're envisioning is adequate for us to proceed to the next steps. Our program is very much in tune to what we offered last year. We had a very successful program, high interest from students from elementary to high school. We know that we need to recruit a little bit more in the middle, as our middle school students were not as excited as, it was evident with the smaller enrollment that we saw, but we know that's an area that we need to target, and we have some ideas on how do we increase attendance there. So we're proposing starting the Monday after school is out. Our last day is the 6th. It allows us that Wednesday to really focus on transferring all of the student data that is needed for summer enrollment. So our ARIES goes through a rollover of data, and we're able to utilize it for attendance purposes, etc. Our teachers who are part of summer school would get trained Thursday and Friday, and instruction would begin for students on Monday, June the 12th. We're proposing 4 weeks, so we would be ending July the 7th. We do have 2 holidays in between. We have Juneteenth, and we also have 4th of July. The teacher workday would be 7 hours, and student instructional day 6.5 hours. So again, that follows along with what we offered last year, and the starting times are apart enough so that our transportation department would be able to get our students to their school sites at the start time. And so these actually reflect adjustments that we made last year from when we first initially proposed the starting times. Transportation looked at it, they gave us feedback as we were meeting throughout our planning time, and we made adjustments. And so we have those very same proposed times. And again, we'll go through that process again where we have every department review the information and we'll make adjustments accordingly. At the elementary level, we're proposing having thematic instruction provided for our students. This is going to be an opportunity this summer where we can really integrate our instruction for language arts, math, science, art, all of it together so that we engage our students in activities. Not to say that this doesn't happen during the school year, but there's that feeling of a little bit more that relaxed feeling during summer, and we want them to feel like it's different, like it's not the same that they experience day to day coming to school during the regular school year. Our program is enriched through our expanded learning staff that provides the rotations. What you see up there are just examples. Really, they vary by school site. It depends on the line staff that is providing them. We have some amazing individuals with great talent. So depending on who's assigned to what school site, that is what we would be offering. And then we have departments that have requirements. Special ed has their own requirements. Our migrant students, our English learners, we have to differentiate the instruction that we provide for them. So we would take that into account and embed it into our program. And then we're excited to say that since we've been back from the pandemic, we've been offering dual language program for students that are in that program as well. And so the cherry on top, the field trips, the hands-on learning, the spirit days that really get our kids excited. And see, I forgot about this. If Bea was here, she would be frowning at me because I did not introduce the theme. And so Bea's idea, she was really excited. So as you can see, you see some characters up there. So we're following an anime theme. So it's an animated summer school program, and the characters up there, they spell our cool and animated summer school program that is spelled in Japanese.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say first. I said, well, the fun theme of anime. So we should have a lot of fun with that. So summer school planning timing. So we have, well, actually, nope, go through the secondary. So you flipped it. So secondary, we have the academics, we have the enrichment and the supplemental. So we have different opportunities for the students in the high school. They'll have, we offer a lot of the ELA classes, math, science, Spanish, and we have online. Last year, we had a fun competition between CV High School and DM High School for the number of online credits that we could actually establish. The kids really they get very enthusiastic about finishing their credits in the summertime because there's a lot of credit carrot at the end, the graduation for some of those in the summer graduation. And so last year with the fun competition, we bought pizza for DM High School. They blew away CV High School. So a little bit kudos to DM High School. So we offer different classes during the summertime, and we offer B's program offers a great the enrichment for the students. So they take 2 classes or 2 periods, and then they'll go to enrichment. They loved it last year. B and her team did a fantastic job to let the students get out, have some fun together, and then go back in and enjoy and work hard in their classes. We also have differentiated support, special ed, the migrant, English learner, dual language, and social emotional. And we'll also give them some field trips, snow cones, tacos. We'll have some fun out there too for the students. So our summer planning timeline, we incorporated the feedback, looked at last year, reflected on that, met with some department chairs at this point, promoting a summer program, which is now recruiting staff that's coming up. And then we'll develop, again, our curriculum plan, identify site leads, and then other supplies and materials. So any questions and recommendations?
Questions, board members, Mr. Redondo?
Yeah, I had a couple, and this is not to do with, but to do with the facilities issue. So we just approved like 118 projects that are going to go on to replacing some of the carpet and some of the flooring at some of the sites. Can we make sure to mitigate some of that stuff? Because I know we offer, it's going to be offered at all the sites, right?
Correct.
So I'm just hoping that we can plan to make sure that we can get some of that much needed, carpet replacement and floor replacement. And of course, this program's important, but also it's a time to make sure that everything is ready, right? And then we have a massive AC project that's going on at the K through 12 parks. I just want to make sure that we're aware of these as you're building for your program. Couple things on the program. I'd like to see the mentors incorporated, the wellness center incorporated in summer school and operate through summer school. And then I'd like to see, I've always said this, I think our kids need to be exposed to like a challenge course. Cal State San Bernardino has a challenge course. I think it'd be great for our middle and high school students to, along with other field trips that I know ACES offers as well. And they offer a lot of good field trips. So don't want to take away from that.
That's great.
Thank you.
Who's gonna raise your hand?
Yeah, I'm just waiting. Anybody else have any questions?
Mr. Acuna?
I always get scared when I start talking. I haven't seen it right. A couple of quick questions on, the reason it's 4 weeks and not 6 weeks, like I always advocate, is so they can actually do all that stuff you're talking about, right? It's probably it. You know, me, I always like longer, but at least we're not arguing over the 4 weeks. At least that's a nice start. A couple of questions, and I know these are all still kind of draft forms. There's going to be more details in that, so won't get into all of that. But you showed elementary and you showed secondary, but what's the middle school going to do? Are they part of the secondary, or what are they? Because again, I remember we've always, I don't want to say messed them up, but I've always complained. I've been the one that complained about the middle school, other programs that we've done in the past.
So two academics. So it's like a math and literacy, and then they'll also do the rotations with the exploratory, expanded learning.
Also in the secondary, the online learning, they're not going to be on campus. There's going to be separate programs.
No, they'll be on campus inside the class. Yep. So they do online learning inside the classroom.
Okay. Yeah. I was just wondering if it was something separate. So yeah, I think as you guys start drilling down, I'll have more questions, obviously, but I think it's a great start. It's a, kind of what, and again, I've been talking about this for a long time. And I think it's, we can't do the drill and kill in the summer because the kids will go home. And we've learned that over the years, and I'm glad we're changing this. But yeah, I've been, again, you guys are going to bring more detail as it gets through, and then this is open to all students, correct?
All students.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's a good start.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got just real quick, I guess, sites. It's happening, is this being offered at every elementary school site? Or are we grouping them at like every student is able to come, but they
Yes.
might be grouped?
So it will be offered at every elementary school. The only time that we grouped was prior to the pandemic, when we were not offering it district-wide. We were focused on programs like the migrant program was offering summer school, English learner department was offering summer school, special ed. So it was concentrated at specific sites, but now it's open to all students, anyone that wants to attend.
Right, okay. I guess I'm just talking based on my experience when I would go to summer school, and as a student in Oasis, I remember I'd go to summer school in Las Palmitas.
Yes, that was the old way of us doing it. We would concentrate at the K-12 complex, and we would have the migrant, the EL department, and SPED all within the K-12 complex. So you must be referring to that. Yes.
Yeah. Calling me old. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a business. All right, let's go. Let me roll up my sleeves. Action item 7.1. Adoption of board resolution AB 361. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Arredondo, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Garcia. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 8.1. Requesting approval of various overnight migrant educational field trips on behalf of RCOE. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Arredondo, second by Ms. Garcia. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 8.2. Requesting approval of an overnight field trip for Coachella Valley High School wrestling team to attend CIF wrestling tournament at Bree Olinda High School in Bree, California. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Redondo,
Second.
second by Ms. Vargas. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 8.3, requesting approval of overnight trip for DMHS students to attend Friday Night Live Youth Development Institute in Julian, California on February 11th through the 12th.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Redondo,
Second.
second by Ms. Vargas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. You guys want to shake your hands? Pa que se despiertan. Somebody shake your hands, wake up. You guys are falling asleep.
Doing a great job.
Ahead, action item 8.4, requesting approval of out-of-state travel for 3 technology services staff members to attend. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Redondo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Vargas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 8.5, requesting approval for the 2023 CSEA 26th Annual Para-Educator Conference.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Redondo,
Second.
second by Ms. Vargas. Your question?
Garcia. It's Garcia.
Ms. Garcia, sorry. Any questions? Comments, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 8.6, requesting approval to purchase books and resources from Perma Bound.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Redondo, second by Ms. Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 8.7, requesting approval of out-of-state travel for educational service team members. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Arredondo, second by Ms. Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 9.1, authorization to enter into an annual service agreement with Airwave Communications.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Arredondo, second by Ms. Garcia. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 9.2, authorization to approve contract with Advanced IPM. Is there a motion?
Yes, this is a good item. Gonna deal with some of our gopher issues. So motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Redondo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Garcia. Any comments, concerns, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 9.3, custodial equipment replacement. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Redondo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Vargas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 9.5. No, 9.4, authorization to approve contract with Miller Architectural Corporation.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Redondo.
I had a question.
You want a second and then go question? What? You want a second and question?
Sure. And I apologize because when I sent my questions in ahead of time, I forgot to put this one in. I had written it down, but I forgot to put it in. I just had a question about this because, so as I was reading this, we hired them previously to give us kind of an assessment. And now we're going to hire them to tell us all the things we need to do. And then we're going to have to go back out to contract to hire someone who actually paints it. And so I'm like, wouldn't the obvious would be they did the assessment and just put out an RFP that does all the rest at the same time? Or I'm a little confused on that. So and again, I do apologize. Normally they're very good at getting me the answers earlier, but I just forgot to put this in the actual one that I sent out.
Yeah, of course. Good evening, everybody. So the assessment was done by Kaya Services, a completely different organization from all of the architects that we solicited bids from. So we solicited proposals from 6 architectural firms. 2 rescinded their interest. So we received 4 proposals from 4 architectural firms, and Miller Architects was the lowest bid to provide specs, plans, and services to build a project, and then we'll take it out to public bid for the painting contractors.
I got that. Again, my question would have been couldn't we have just done it all at once?
But there was
Without
no
an RFP for that?
cost associated to the assessment by Kaya Services.
$19,000.
Excuse me?
Well, what we're approving is $19,000.
That's for architectural services.
Understand that.
Two completely separate items. So the assessment was done a couple of years ago by Kaya Services. And then this year we solicited for architectural participation for the project to paint John Kelly.
I understand that part too. My point is that could not we have done an RFP that said, we want these schools painted. Can you come in and do what it's going to cost to do it? Do all the architectural for us or everything? Or do we have to do one before the other? I remember painting the schools a few times, and I don't believe we've ever gone through this type of we've done the process, but we've only done it once. So that was just my question. I didn't understand why we were doing it. We're going to do it twice. I understand what you're saying, that we're going to have somebody come in and say, oh, this needs this color, this needs that color, and oh, this needs to be, sandblasted or what have you. I get that part. And then we're going to hire another person to paint it. Can't we just hire the company to do all at once? Kind of my.
Oh, so it sounds like you would like to hire a contractor
Isn't, I mean, that's kind of what we do, right? We hire contractors to come in and do a service. We need our schools painted. This is kind of our priority list. Do an RFP for contractors to come in and provide all the services to do that. Again, I'm not questioning that I'm questioning that in the past, that's kind of how we did it. So I'm wondering why we're doing it this way.
This is the typical manner. You hire an architect, you build a plan, you design the specs. With those plans and specs, you advertise in the local newspaper, trade journal, put it on the bid manager, and you are putting a competitive advertisement out for contractors to give you the best price. So you're going to see.
Again, just in the past that I've been around and we've done it, and it's been a while since we've done all the way across the board. We didn't do it that way. We did it differently. So that was my only question about why.
Yes, in my career, this would be the manner and the approach that you would.
And then the other
construction project.
Yeah, and the other, I was looking at the priority plan, which was a little bit interesting, and I did have a question, and I know it's at the very end, and it's the maintenance and the transportation location. Are you talking about the one on Avenue 55? Because that's not transportation really, right?
Yes.
It's the maintenance and the facilities and all that.
Yes, as part of the lease, we are the responsible tenants for the upkeep.
I understand that, but didn't we agree that we're going to leave a few years ago?
That we're going to leave it? Yeah, so we had a short 2-year term, which is up, and we're getting ready to go into negotiation to review the lease. The hope was to find another location. So I sought out a commercial realty agent. We found one property over here off Airport Boulevard. There was extensive work that needed to be done to house our maintenance and operations program. The owner of the facility was not willing to invest the money to rehab that place. So there wasn't any other places available for us to go to. So we're there for now.
Okay, we have a whole area where the bus barn used to be, and we have 40 acres in the back. So I'm again, that's getting off the subject of this one. But when I saw that on there, I was wondering, because we had talked about leaving there because of some of the other things they wanted us to do that were cost prohibitive. So we were going to put a plan together to leave. So when I saw it on the list, I thought it was kind of interesting.
It's pretty far down there on the list. It would be
I get it, but
several years before we get to that. And we did speak about that in our directors' meetings. We'll be reaching out to architects to design a conceptual facility for maintenance operations to see what that would look like. To build perhaps on one of our vacant lands or even behind the transportation building where we have some space there.
Okay, sounds like. Thank you.
Any other questions? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Action item 9.5. Agreement for pupil transportation information management assistance.
I have a question on this one too. Okay.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Acuna?
So, and again, I apologize because I didn't send this one either. So they're basically, what exactly are they going to come in and do? I mean, are they going to come in and like teach drivers how to drive, or are they going to teach dispatchers how to dispatch, or?
So TI, the first time they came out was to do the report and analysis. Now, based on those recommendations, we made a few changes and we continue to make a change. Now they're coming on as support in the absence of a director to move the team along. So they would be doing some dispatching work. They would be doing, so how to dispatch in other places, just make some changes. It's really support for management while Veronica's still working with them to make sure that the work continues, that we do things that they've already recommended, but to make sure that that there's outside sort of influence for us. And they will also do some coaching. So there's a lot that they're doing with our management.
Yeah, because I remember the recommendations that they sent in.
Yes,
Unfortunately,
and-
we haven't gotten to all of them or some of them or most of them.
Yeah, so that continues. That's sort of like our starting point, but this is now hands-on. They're going to be working with Veronica and sort of like checking in on them. They were here for a week. Now it's okay. How much have you done? What else do you need? So sort of coordinating the work that they're doing so that it works for us.
Thank you.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Action item 9.6, approval of the fiscal year 2021-2022 financial audit.
A motion. So move.
Second.
I have a question.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Redondo, second by Ms. Garcia. Mr. Redondo?
So I was reading the report and it stated that there was things that we found in the audit that were needed to be worked on. So can you just share some of the concerns, if there are any concerns with this audit that you can speak to?
Sure, appreciate the opportunity. So the primary issue this year, which resulted in the reporting of the finding, has to do with fair market value. Now, in layman's term, what exactly is that, right? It's basically the market value given the market conditions, that the cash that you basically send over to the county treasury, what they do is they take that and they buy very secure securities. If you recall back in June 30th, 2022, the market dove quite a bit. I mean, I personally have a 401k and I looked at it and I'm like, whoa, I'm going to have to work 5 more years just to recoup that. Fast forward today, a lot of it has been recovered. So this is what we would call a financial reporting impact. That adjustment that I made, again, my emphasis is financial reporting, not from an operational standpoint, but that adjustment I made is purely for financial reporting as of June 30, 2022. Okay. Now, what's the repercussion to the district, right? So as of that date, June 30, 2022, there was a decreased value. It's approximately 2% of your entire amount that's held in county treasury, right? It was at that point in time. However, come July 1st, that's reverted back. And we report the value again come June 30, 2023. So what does it all mean? You didn't lose out on anything. It's just purely a reporting component. Okay, hopefully that makes a little sense, right? The other way you want to approach this is fair market value is if you were to liquidate all of your investments, that's how much you would have at the end of, at that given day. We all know that the county treasury would not liquidate everything that they have unless the world ends. By then it'd be too late anyway, right? But again, it's purely a reporting component, okay? July 1st, it's dollar for dollar again until we go to at year end, we have to report for financial reporting, then we have to consider fair market value. And hopefully that makes sense.
It does. So in your opinion, we do have the controls in place to deal with this, or is this something we still need to work on?
There was a slight flaw this year. That's why I had to report it and I had to adjust for it. So what had happened was back in 2021, right? This is fairly new to Riverside County Office of Ed. They actually posted this on behalf of all the districts in 2021. I don't know what happened this year, but I mean, I do quite a few Riverside County districts, and this was the only district where I said, whoa, what happened here? You know, it wasn't posted. I found out later that the district had the option of electing out, right? And as a result, I think, you know, Maela was a little bit busy, so she must have missed it somehow and opted not to do it and then probably forgot about it. So that's basically a flaw, and that's really what I'm reporting. It's a financial statement reporting flaw.
So Dr. Valentino, my question to you is this something that we've already addressed? So this flaw does not take place again?
Yes, that is correct. And because it was the first time that it happened, now there's an awareness so that it won't happen again.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. Arredondo, I just want to emphasize one more thing. So it only became prevalent recently, right? In the past, prior to 2021, when you look at the value of the investment pool, it's literally dollar for dollar every year. Because of the pandemic and the crazy swing in market, it just became a lot more obvious, right? So I think if I were to estimate in the past prior to 2021, right? Every dollar you put in, generally it's like, you know, 100.05. So you get like 5 cents more, right? The value of that dollar is actually $1.05, or it could go another 5 cents up and down, right? And that's what we would call immaterial, right? That swing is so trivial that it doesn't matter. But when we're talking maybe, you know, 2%, right? And the whole scope of millions of dollars, it becomes what we would call a material instance. It impacts the financial statement as a whole, and we have to address it. And the problem with materiality is that if it exceeds that threshold, any error that's basically tagged onto it, we have to adjust further, because basically we start with the 2% error, and then let's say it's below 2%, it's below even 1%. We basically say, hey, look, it's still dollar for dollar, right? But if it exceeds that 2%, and if there's any added errors to it, we basically compound the error effect, right? And we have to report everything.
I completely understand. I just want to make sure that internally we have, and maybe, you know, this is something that first time it's happened, but obviously was reported out, and now community has questions. I want to make sure that we have everything in place, the mechanisms in place to address this. So when it happens in the future, we can also communicate it effectively to community.
Now to provide further assurance, it's basically kind of a rare instance that we adjust this, but we basically saw this across the board throughout California. Very prevalent in Los Angeles County, because their treasury tanked 5%. If you didn't post this, it stood out like a sore thumb.
Any other questions, Mr.?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. So kind of to answer his question, what you guys found on that one, those were the ones kind of all together. They've been addressed as far as you know.
Yes.
They've all been addressed.
It's
the internal part that's a separate issue for me. That's something we'll discuss with the superintendent and obviously the staff, but they have been fixed, correct? And that part was found because of your audit, right? Because that's why we have audits, right? To find these things. So my second question is, there was another one that was mentioned, and that was the one for the school safety plan at Oasis Elementary. My understanding is that's been rectified as well. But to your knowledge, was that done before or after was that rectified before or after your audit?
Rectification, we have to wait until the current cycle because it's an annual thing, right? So basically, if the plan hasn't been adopted and updated as of March 1st, it becomes an automatic finding.
Right, and I get that.
Yeah.
Then my question to our staff is, did we add that amendment afterwards?
Yes,
When we did
so by the time that he was looking at it, we verified the dates, and it was, in order for them to have it approved, it was late but that's really why, to make the correction and add it, and then we had to provide it. But it was late. That's why he had to write it up.
So I'm just going back to, again, the internal stuff for us is internal, but this stuff has been rectified. The other one was done even before you did your audit. And the reason I bring that up is I didn't read that part in the newspaper, obviously, but that's kind of the way it works with our local paper. But thank you. Obviously, that's why we hire audits, to make sure if we miss anything that we take care of it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think one last thing that I have, right, is regards to also the paper, and on a more I guess what can you say that, you know, to the community members that read the paper and now are calling this board corrupt, sneaky, hiding things, right? What can you say out there? Because part of the reaction that I read out of that paper was that, right?
Well, I personally did not read the article. That was so
Good for you.
Yeah, and I had no idea that was the information that was being spread. But let's face it, it's an honest error. When you look at, I think when I look at most of my audit reports, they have some sort of a finding, right? And actually, I think the most prevalent financial finding this year has to do with the fair market value adjustment, because if you didn't post it, it's an automatic error from a financial reporting standpoint. Okay. And then I don't know if you looked at the detail, the audit report, but there's a fair market adjustment, and then there's also a receivable line item. Okay. That receivable line item has to do with new federal funding that the district received. And there's a variety of recipients. There's, over 100 recipients, ranging from, governmental to K-12 and even colleges, right? Now, as you know, I mean, like all of our, governmental entities are receiving all sorts of money. This money was brand new. It was confusing to us in the beginning too. Once we figured out, okay, this is the mechanism in terms of how this is funded, this is the accounting treatment that we need to do. I will tell you right now, all of the recipients that received this money, they didn't do it right. I had to adjust it. Okay, it's not just Coachella.
Thank you. There was a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Have a good night. Item 10.1, approval of retirement incentive for early notification.
So move.
Motion by Ms. Garcia, second by Mr. Arredondo. Is there any questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Action item 10.2, approval of revised job description for Director of Transportation.
A motion for approval with the change, an addition, I guess.
Okay, what's your addition?
To add under desired bilingual.
Bilingual?
My thought, they could speak Yeah, and my thought is that considering some of the challenges that we've had, it's very likely that this role would communicate with parents who are monolingual Spanish speakers.
There's a motion with an amendment. Is there a second?
I have a question on this too. I'd like to add something as well.
What's
So I know that we received an email on some of the changes too, and I like the Director of Transportation to have a certification to drive a bus as well. In case that it's an emergency and this director needs to drive a bus, I would like them to have the same qualifications as a regular bus driver has as well. So I know that was desired, but I would like to make it mandatory for them to have the same qualifications that our bus drivers go through. Well,
do you accept? Mayela?
So the one of the reasons that that's the only change that we made to the job description. And the reason why is that because we have such a huge transportation, the need for the director to drive should be really limited. His efforts should really be placed on making sure that there's drivers, that the routes are accurate, that he's monitoring all of that. And it does come the recommendation from PTI, but that is also one of the reasons why our pool is not so big. So we wanted to keep the idea that we would like them to be at some point that they knew how to be a bus driver, that they did have their certificate, but maybe now they're in a different role where they didn't need it. So that would make them, qualified, but they don't hold the license. So of course, we'll make every effort to make sure that they have a school experience as a director and as a bus driver, but that hasn't been the case right now. So that's why we were bringing the change to make sure that let's put it on desire. Let's see what's out there. Hopefully that would give us a bigger pull. And having a bilingual as desired, that would let them know that, yeah, we have a community where they will need to talk to parents and that's really important to us. So I mean, we're open to the changes. Just wanted to make sure that we were aware as to why we were making it a desired and not a has to have.
Yeah, obviously I'm not in agreement with it, but this can move forward, but it is my understanding, sometimes we don't know our transportation needs, and if it's an emergency, I like everybody in that bus barn to be able to pick up our kids. And if I'm expecting a bus driver to go through training and get certified, then I want to expect that from the director as well. And
So
if I don't agree, that's fine.
I guess my question would be, does that apply to all the dispatchers, mechanics, and because he's not the director of bus drivers, he's the director of transportation. So you're saying that all mechanics and everyone should all have a license?
I would like to see that. I would like to see
I'm
that.
just asking the question because if you're talking about you want everybody in the bus barn, that's everybody.
I mean, I've known supervisors who are out there driving a bus, and I would like for and we know that sometimes we have people who are absent.
I'm not disagreeing or agreeing with you. I'm asking you, does that apply that we want to change it for everyone?
I would like to, Mr. Acuna, because I think it's important.
Let's call to order. Mr. Ladon, does your second with your amendment stand after you've received?
Well, I would want to see if we can add that. If not, it's okay.
Do you accept?
Move forward.
Do you accept that friendly amendment, Ms. Vargas?
It sounds like it might limit the pool of applicants. So I would probably err to keep it under desired. I think the role also says, minimum of 5 years experience, successful experience, transportation, 3 years experience, and that includes like routing buses. I feel like maybe that's.
Do you still second?
Well, I won't. Yeah, I just pull my second on that.
You'll put your second? Okay. Is there a second?
I'm sorry. What are we?
To approve the revised job description with Jocelyn's amendment to put bilingual, yeah, just hers. She didn't accept his amendment.
Well, I confused. I didn't know what he was seconding.
No, he pulled his second.
Oh, he pulled yours. Oh, yeah, I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstain? Motion carries 4-1-0. Consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board considers a motion unless members of the board or staff request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar, in which event the items will be considered separately. The superintendent, assistant sup of ed services, and assistant sup of business and finance and assistant sup of HR recommend the approval of all consent calendar items. Are there any items that need to be pulled? Answered. Awesome. Seeing none, is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Redondo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Awesome. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Redondo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Garcia. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Meeting adjourned.